Let's take a moment to relax and breathe. Today, we're going to learn and explore the neuroscience of fear, understanding how your brain reacts to fear and trauma. Have you ever felt your heart race and your palms sweat when faced with a scary situation? Fear is a natural response to danger, but what happens in your brain when you experience fear or trauma? Fear is a fundamental human emotion that serves as a natural response to danger. However, what happens in your brain when you experience fear or trauma? Understanding the science behind this response can help you to recognize and manage your reactions healthily and effectively. Fear is a universal emotion that has been shaped by evolution to help us survive dangerous situations. It is a complex and multi-layered experience that involves many parts of the brain, including the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. When you experience fear, your body undergoes a series of physiological changes that prepare you to respond to a perceived threat, whether it is real or imagined. In this video, we will explore the fascinating science behind the neural mechanisms that underlie fear and trauma. We will delve into the different areas of the brain involved in the fear response, including the amygdala and hippocampus. Additionally, we will discuss the long-term changes that can occur in the brain as a result of chronic stress, anxiety, and trauma. We will also examine effective treatments for individuals who have experienced trauma, including cognitive behavioral therapy, common eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing of jerk. By the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of how your brain responds to fear and trauma, and how you can use this knowledge to develop healthy coping mechanisms. So sit back, relax, and get ready to delve into the fascinating world of the neuroscience of fear, understanding how your brain reacts to fear and trauma. If you're ready, let's get started. The brain's response to fear. Imagine you are walking alone at night and you hear footsteps behind you. Your heart begins to race and your mind becomes hyper alert. You turn around to see a stranger walking towards you and suddenly fear takes. Your body prepares to fight or flee as adrenaline surges through your bloodstream. This is a natural response to a potential threat, and it happens because of the complex neural pathways in your brain. When you experience fear, your brain undergoes a complex series of physiological and psychological changes that prepare you to respond to a perceived threat. This response is often referred to as the fight or flight response, as it is designed to help you either confront the threat or escape from it. At the core of the fear response is the amygdala, an almond-shaped structure located deep in the brain. The amygdala plays a critical role in processing emotions and detecting potential threats in the environment. When you encounter something that your brain perceives as potentially dangerous, such as a loud noise or a sudden movement, the amygdala sends a signal to other parts of the brain to initiate the fear response. One of the key responses triggered by the amygdala is the release of stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones flood the body and prepare it for action, increasing heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure, and diverting blood flow away from non-essential functions such as digestion. At the same time, other parts of the brain, such as the prefrontal cortex, work to evaluate the threat and determine the best course of action. The prefrontal cortex is involved in decision-making, planning, and problem-solving, and helps to regulate the fear response by sending inhibitory signals to the amygdala to calm it down. Another key player in the fear response is the hippocampus, which we'll cover a little later in this video. This structure is located in the temporal lobe, which is involved in memory and spatial navigation. The hippocampus helps to encode and store memories related to fear and trauma and can be activated by fear triggers such as specific sounds or smells. In some cases, the fear response can become dysregulated, leading to conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder. Individuals with PTSD may experience intense and persistent fear responses to stimuli that are not actually dangerous, leading to symptoms such as flashbacks, nightmares, and avoidance behavior. Research has shown that chronic stress, anxiety, And trauma can lead to long-term changes in the brain, particularly in the amygdala and prefrontal cortex. Studies have found that people with post-traumatic stress disorder, BT, have a smaller prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making and emotional regulation. This suggests that trauma can impact our ability to cope with stress and regulate our emotions. Understanding the neural mechanisms that underlie the fear response can help individuals recognize and manage their reactions to fear and trauma. By learning to identify fear triggers, developing healthy coping mechanisms, and seeking effective treatments, such as cognitive behavioral therapy and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing MD, individuals can learn to navigate the complex landscape of fear and build resilience. The hippocampus. The hippocampus is a small seahorse-shaped structure located deep within the temporal lobes of the brain, and it plays a critical role in both memory formation and spatial navigation. It is responsible for encoding and storing new memories, as well as retrieving and consolidating older ones. In the context of fear and trauma, the hippocampus is particularly important because it plays a key role in the encoding and storage of memories associated with these experiences. When we encounter a potentially threatening situation, the amygdala activates the release of stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, which can have a profound effect on memory consolidation. Research has shown that high levels of stress hormones can interfere with the normal functioning of the hippocampus, impairing its ability to encode and consolidate memories. This can lead to fragmented or incomplete memories of traumatic events and can make it difficult for individuals to process and move past their experiences. In addition to its role in memory formation, the hippocampus also plays an important role in spatial navigation. Studies have shown that damage to the hippocampus can impair an individual's ability to navigate their environment and form new spatial memories. For example, individuals with damage to the hippocampus may have difficulty remembering the layout of their home or workplace, or may struggle to find their way around a new city. Interestingly, research has also shown that the hippocampus may play a role in regulating the fear response itself. Some studies have suggested that the hippocampus may help to contextualize fear memories, allowing individuals to differentiate between real and perceived threats and to regulate their fear response accordingly. Overall, the hippocampus is a crucial brain structure that plays a critical role in both memory formation and spatial navigation. In the context of fear and trauma, the hippocampus is particularly important for encoding and storing memories associated with these experiences, and for contextualizing fear memories in a way that allows individuals to regulate their fear response. By understanding the role of the hippocampus in fear and trauma, individuals can better understand how these experiences impact the brain and can develop effective strategies for coping and healing. Treatments for trauma. Experiencing trauma can have long-lasting effects on both physical and mental health and can make it difficult to function in day-to-day life. However, there are several effective treatments available that can help individuals to cope with and heal from traumatic experiences. One of the most widely used and effective treatments for trauma is cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT is a type of therapy that is based on the idea that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all interconnected, and that by changing one aspect of our experience, we can positively impact others. In the context of trauma, CBT can help individuals to identify and challenge negative or distorted thoughts and beliefs about themselves and their experiences, and to develop new coping skills and strategies for managing their emotions. It can also involve exposure therapy, which involves gradually and safely exposing individuals to the memories and triggers associated with their trauma in order to help them to desensitize and reprocess the memories. Another effective treatment for trauma is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing EMDR. EMDR is a type of therapy that is designed to help individuals process and heal from traumatic experiences by stimulating the brain's natural healing processes. During an EDR session, the therapist will ask the individual to recall a traumatic memory while engaging in a specific type of bilateral stimulation, such as moving their eyes back and forth or listening to tones played in each ear. The bilateral stimulation is thought to activate the brain's natural processing mechanisms, allowing the individual to reprocess the traumatic memory in a way that is less distressing and more adaptive. In addition to CBT and EMDR, there are a number of other evidence-based treatments available for trauma, such as trauma-focused cognitive therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, and mindfulness-based approaches. The choice of treatment will depend on the individual's unique needs and preferences, as well as the specific nature of their traumatic experiences. It's worth noting that seeking treatment for trauma can be challenging and that it's common for individuals to experience some discomfort or distress as they begin to process their experiences. However, with the help of a qualified and compassionate therapist, many individuals are able to work through their trauma and build resilience, allowing them to move forward and live fulfilling lives. This concludes our video on the neuroscience of fear, understanding how your brain reacts to fear and trauma. In conclusion, the neuroscience of fear is a complex and fascinating topic that sheds light on how our brains respond to danger and trauma. We've explored the various neural mechanisms that underlie the fear response, including the role of the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. We've also discussed how chronic stress, anxiety, and trauma can lead to long-term changes in the brain that affect emotional regulation, memory, and behavior. Long-term, it's important to remember that fear and trauma are not uncommon experiences, and there are many effective treatments available to help individuals who have experienced these challenges, whether it's through cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, or other forms of therapy. Individuals can learn to cope with the effects of trauma and build resilience. Have you ever experienced a traumatic event or felt overwhelmed by fear? How did it affect your life? Do you feel like you have a good understanding of how your brain reacts to fear and trauma? What was the most surprising thing you learned in this video? Please share with us your experiences in this area by understanding the neural pathways and networks that underlie fear and trauma. We can develop a deeper appreciation for the complexity of the human brain and the many ways in which it can adapt and change over time. And ultimately, by learning more about the neuroscience of fear, we can learn to recognize and manage our emotional responses healthily and productively. If you or someone you know are overcome with feelings of fear, trauma, or anxiety, please know there is help. Finding a therapist who truly specializes in the treatment and understands how to treat these conditions effectively is an important next step.